How global is this effort when I see $7.58 a gallon in London?
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing a number of countries that look like they're going to join in to one degree or another. India has said it will release about 5 million barrels. We're expecting an announcement from Japan, potentially South Korea, maybe China, and also the UK. Although our contribution may be relatively small. The figures look like they're going to stack up at anywhere between about 60 million barrels at the low end to as much as perhaps 80 million barrels at the higher end. No real clarity at the moment what sort of time scale that will be, that release will cover. Clearly, you know, if it's done over a single month, then you know we're looking at something that is significantly bigger than the countries than the US was asking for from OPEC, for example. Well, but even at its smallest, it's in line with what they were asking OPEC to do.
In the meantime, we did get a release on Japan. Kaylee also noting that Japan is expected to release several days' worth of oil reserves. This, according to local media, it puts into sense as the scale that we're looking at here. And really, just if you can give us a sense of how much it would take for OPEC Plus to offset this entirely with just reducing some of their production for a couple of days.
Yeah, well, you know, I don't think OPEC or OPEC Plus is going to reduce its production. What it might well consider doing is delaying the increase that is currently scheduled for January. I think December's increase, which was agreed at the beginning of this month, is pretty much locked in. Sales have been made against those loading programs. That's unlikely to change. But they may decide to delay the January increase, perhaps even the February increase. And that would take, you know, if you take 400,000 barrels a day of potential increase off the market for a month, you know, you're getting up to 12 million barrels. So you've got to do that for 2 or 3 months, really, to eat into all of this strategic supply release.
Julian, how much daylight is there between what OPEC Plus thinks is an appropriate price for a barrel of crude and what President Biden thinks is an appropriate price for a barrel of crude?
Well, you know, that's a very good question, and one that is, I think, fairly impossible to answer. You know, OPEC seems to be back into what I sort of call this historical mindset where the fair price of oil is always a couple of bucks more than the current price. And it doesn't really matter what the current price is. If it was 50, they were talking about perhaps 55. When it got up to 65, they were saying, well, maybe around 70. And it always seems to be a little bit more than it is now. Clearly, for President Biden, what he is, I think, much more interested in than the price of crude oil is the price of gas at the pump, because that's what affects the people who will or won't vote for him. And I think the concerns are the same here in the UK.